Dr. Paul O. Cox is a remarkable doctor. He has spent his career helping people fight their unseen battles. Dr. Cox treats each patient with kindness and respect. He knows that behind every diagnosis, there's a human being with a story. Dr. Cox's files are filled with incredible stories of survival and hope. Today, we'll look at 3 such stories: Aaron, Emily, and Jason. Each faced a different mental health challenge. All of them found the strength to keep going. These stories remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. They offer hope and inspiration to anyone facing their own unseen battles. Let's listen to their stories. Aaron was a young man who seemed to have it all. He was successful in his career and had a loving family. Yet beneath the surface, Aaron was fighting a silent battle with depression. Depression is a serious illness. It's not just feeling sad. It's a darkness that can consume you.
I felt hopeless and lost. I withdrew from my loved ones, isolating myself in my pain. The weight of my depression became unbearable. I began having suicidal thoughts. I felt like there was no way out of the darkness. I felt like a burden to everyone. Thankfully, I realized I needed help. I reached out to Dr. Cox, taking the first step towards recovery.
Aaron had always felt a shadow following him, a heaviness in his chest, a voice whispering doubts and fears. He had struggled with depression for as long as he could remember. It clung to him like a shroud, smothering his joy and stealing his hope. As a child, Aaron was withdrawn and quiet. He found little pleasure in things that excited other kids. His parents, though loving and supportive, felt helpless. They watched as their son retreated further into himself. The teenage years brought new challenges. Social anxiety gripped Aaron. He felt like an outsider, unable to connect with his peers. School became a battleground where every interaction felt like a test he was destined to fail. Years turned into decades, and the darkness remained. Aaron carried the weight of his depression everywhere he went. It was a constant companion, a cruel reminder that he was different, broken. The night was cold, the air thick with despair. Aaron stood on the edge of the old tower, his city spread out before him like a broken promise. He had reached his breaking point. The pain had become unbearable, an endless cycle of hopelessness and despair. He closed his eyes, tears tracing icy paths down his cheeks. In that moment, he saw no other way out. The world seemed to hold nothing but pain, and he was ready to let go. Just as he was about to take the final step, he heard a voice. It was soft, hesitant, but it cut through the darkness like a beacon. A young woman, walking her dog, had seen him standing on the edge. She called out to him, her words filled with concern and a strange understanding. Something in her voice, a flicker of human connection, stopped him. He opened his eyes, startled to realize he was no longer alone. Shame washed over him, followed by a wave of exhaustion. He stepped back from the edge, his legs trembling beneath him. The woman stayed with him until help arrived. As the ambulance drove him away, he looked back at the tower, a dark silhouette against the dawning sky. He knew he had been given a second chance. The following weeks were a blur of hospital visits, medication adjustments, and tearful conversations. For the first time, Aaron allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. He started seeing a therapist who specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. CBT focused on identifying and changing negative thought patterns that contribute to depression. Aaron learned to recognize his own negative thoughts and challenge them. The process was slow and challenging. Old habits died hard. But with each session, Aaron felt a glimmer of hope ignite within him. He began to understand that he wasn't defined by his illness. He had the power to change his thoughts and, in turn, change his life. The therapist also encouraged Aaron to explore other forms of therapy, including talk therapy and mindfulness exercises. He learned to sit with his emotions, to acknowledge them without judgment. Slowly but surely, the darkness began to lift. Rewiring the mind. neuroplasticity, and the creation of new neural pathways. As Aaron progressed in therapy, he became fascinated by the concept of neuroplasticity. He learned that the brain wasn't static, but was constantly changing and adapting based on experiences. This meant that he could literally rewire his brain by consciously choosing positive thoughts and behaviors. The idea was both empowering and daunting. Aaron realized that he had spent years reinforcing negative neural pathways, deepening the grooves of depression in his mind. But now he had the tools to create new, healthier pathways. He embraced the challenge with a newfound determination. He started practicing gratitude daily, focusing on the good things in his life, no matter how small. He replaced negative self-talk with affirmations, reminding himself of his strengths and accomplishments. Every positive thought, every act of self-care, was like laying a brick on a new path, leading him away from the darkness and into the light. As Aaron healed, he felt a long dormant creativity stir within him. He had always loved art as a child, but depression had stifled his passion. Now, he decided to pick up a paintbrush again. He found solace in the act of creation. The world seemed to fade away as he mixed colors and lost himself in the strokes. His paintings, initially dark and abstract, gradually became brighter, infused with a newfound hope. Aaron also rediscovered his love for nature. He started going on hikes, immersing himself in the beauty of the world around him. The fresh air, the sounds of birdsong, the feel of the sun on his skin. It was all so life-affirming. Finding peace and contentment. Aaron's life as a testament to healing. It has been years since that dark night on the edge of the abyss. Aaron is now a different man. The shadows still linger sometimes, but they no longer define him. He has learned to manage his depression and live a full and meaningful life. He is married now, his wife a constant source of love and support. They have 2 beautiful daughters who fill their home with laughter. Aaron cherishes every moment with his family, knowing how precious life is. He still paints, his art now displayed in local galleries. He also volunteers at a suicide prevention hotline, offering hope and support to those who are struggling. Aaron's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, the transformative power of therapy and neuroplasticity, and the importance of seeking help when you need it most. His story is a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can be found.
Emily's story is one of extreme highs and lows. She struggled with bipolar disorder. This mental illness causes dramatic shifts in mood and energy.
One moment, I would feel on top of the world, full of energy and enthusiasm. The next, I would crash into a deep depression. These mood swings made it hard for me to maintain relationships and hold a job. I felt like I was on a roller coaster I couldn't get off. The uncertainty of my condition was terrifying. I felt misunderstood and alone.
You need to watch this if you struggle with bipolar disorder. Emily's story might just change your life. Emily faced severe mood swings, from manic highs to depressive lows. Her emotions felt uncontrollable, leading to self-destructive behaviors. But everything changed when she discovered cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Curious about new treatments, Emily dived into CBT and neuroplasticity. With commitment and hard work, she tackled the root causes of her bipolar disorder. She identified triggers and developed strategies to manage her symptoms. Mindfulness became her secret weapon. By staying present and non-judgmental, she observed her thoughts without getting overwhelmed. This newfound awareness helped her develop healthier coping mechanisms. As Emily's life transformed, so did her relationships. She communicated better, managed her emotions, and built stronger bonds. Friends and family noticed a remarkable difference, and she became their inspiration. With support and determination, Emily embraced life fully. She pursued her dreams, started a successful business, and dedicated herself to helping others with bipolar disorder. Emily's story shows that with the right tools, transformation is possible.
I carried the weight of trauma from a difficult past. I suffered from complex PTSD. This condition develops after exposure to repeated or prolonged trauma. I experienced flashbacks, nightmares, and intense anxiety. The world felt like a dangerous place. I struggled to trust people and form healthy relationships. The invisible wounds of my past haunted my present. I felt broken and unworthy of love. I turned to unhealthy coping mechanisms to numb the pain.
Jason's story is one of resilience. It's a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome even the darkest of pasts. But his journey began with immense pain. As a child, Jason endured years of physical and emotional abuse. Home was not a safe haven, it was a source of constant fear and anxiety. The abuse left deep scars on Jason's young psyche. He felt isolated and alone. The world felt like a hostile place. Trust was a luxury he couldn't afford. These early experiences shaped his worldview in profound ways. Despite the trauma, Jason tried to navigate childhood as best he could. He put on a brave face for the outside world, but inside he was crumbling. The pain he carried was a heavy burden, one that would follow him into adulthood. The trauma of Jason's childhood didn't magically disappear when he grew older. It followed him like a shadow, impacting every aspect of his life. Relationships were difficult. Trusting others was a constant battle. He struggled to form healthy bonds. The abuse manifested in severe anxiety and panic attacks. Jason lived in a constant state of hypervigilance, always on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Sleep offered little respite, haunted by nightmares and flashbacks of his past. He turned to alcohol and drugs to numb the pain. These substances provided temporary relief, a way to escape the torment of his own mind, but it was a dangerous solution, a band-aid on a gaping wound. The relief was fleeting, and the cycle of addiction only deepened his despair. Jason's substance abuse was a cry for help, a desperate attempt to silence the pain that echoed from his past. The drugs and alcohol provided a temporary escape from the emotional turmoil. They dulled the sharp edges of his trauma, allowing him brief moments of reprieve, but the escape was an illusion. Addiction tightened its grip, exacerbating his existing problems. His relationships suffered, his career faltered. The very thing he sought to numb him from his pain was now the source of it. The cycle of addiction and the weight of his trauma became unbearable. He felt hopeless, trapped in a downward spiral with no end in sight. Jason had hit rock bottom. A glimmer of hope, discovering the brain's potential. In his darkest hour, Jason stumbled upon the concept of neuroplasticity. He learned that the brain, even one scarred by trauma, had the remarkable ability to heal and rewire itself. This realization was a lifeline, a beacon of hope in the sea of despair. The idea that he wasn't permanently broken, that his past didn't have to define his future, ignited a spark within him. It was a difficult concept to grasp at first, but he clung to it with everything he had. This newfound knowledge became the catalyst for change. Jason realized he wasn't powerless against his past. He could choose a different path, a path towards healing and recovery. Armed with the knowledge of neuroplasticity and a glimmer of hope, Jason embarked on a journey of healing. He sought professional help, entering therapy with a mix of trepidation and determination. It was a long and arduous process, requiring immense courage and vulnerability. Through therapy, Jason began to confront the demons of his past. He learned to identify his triggers, manage his anxiety, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. He discovered the power of mindfulness and learned to sit with his emotions rather than trying to escape them. He embraced techniques like eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing, or EMDR, which helped him process traumatic memories and reduce their emotional intensity. This, combined with talk therapy, allowed him to rewrite his narrative and reclaim his life. Jason's journey wasn't easy, but his dedication to healing paid off. He emerged from the darkness stronger and more resilient than ever before. The debilitating symptoms of PTSD lessened, replaced by a newfound sense of peace and self-acceptance. He was able to wean himself off medication, no longer needing it to function in his daily life. The man who once struggled to get out of bed could now embrace each day with a sense of purpose and joy. Jason's story is a testament to the power of the human spirit, a beacon of hope for anyone battling the invisible wounds of trauma. It proves that healing is possible, even in the face of unimaginable adversity.
What makes someone like Aaron, Emily, or Jason choose to fight? What gives them the strength to face another day? The answer lies in the human spirit's remarkable capacity for resilience.